Hi, welcome back to Empowered Births. And I'm excited to share with you 5 of the most common contributing factors to unwanted birth outcomes. And I feel that it is so important to cover this from the very beginning with couples because you can't really get started soon enough with caring for your health and well-being. And it's important to know what these factors are so that when you're in your pregnancy, you don't want to find out that suddenly you're in a high risk category and the dream birth that you had planned is not even an option for you. So if there's a way that you can address these 5 areas prior to your birth to give you enough time to create different these changes in your lifestyle that will really strengthen your foundation going forward, it would really, really benefit you. And you have the 9 months. And if you've been planning to conceive and it's taken some time, maybe you've already adopted some lifestyle changes that were supportive of a healthy conception, but so many pregnancies are unplanned. So many of you are probably watching this, you're probably already pregnant. And that's okay. It's perfect that you're getting this information now and that you're embarking on this empowered birth journey because it really is a journey. And every single thing that you do, when you address these 5 areas, you're actually really preparing a foundation for your future health and your baby's future health. So this is an investment. It's a lifetime investment for you. This isn't just about your birth experience, although how your birth goes really can have impact and a ripple effect on your health and well-being going forward as well. So that's why I'd love to address this with you now. So number 1 is your nutritional intake. Your nutritional intake is really key because any sort of deficiencies or excesses can create hormonal imbalances. It can create health conditions during your pregnancies that can put you in the high risk category. They can also interfere with your baby's development. They can affect your gut health, which also can create issues for you and your baby and your immune systems. They can affect the way that you feel. You could become extremely fatigued or nauseous. Folic acid is a huge contributing factor to birth defects. Many of us don't even know we're pregnant. So it's really important to be taking a multivitamin if you're even considering getting pregnant so that if and when you do conceive, that your folic acid levels are optimal for your baby during the first trimester, the first couple of weeks of their development. So your nutrition is key. So the multivitamin, the pregnancy vitamin rather, prenatal vitamin, a high quality prenatal vitamin is important. So do your research, look for a good quality prenatal vitamin that your body is going to absorb. Look at the testimonials, really do your research. And, for me, I typically guide my clients toward food-based nutrition because our body recognizes the whole food and it's able to break it down rather than using supplements as substitutes for a healthy diet. So I really encourage my couples and the pregnant women that I work with to begin to add more healthy fruits and vegetables into their diet based on what their dietary needs are, and to be working with a prenatal nutritionist during their prenatal time. I do have a minor in nutrition, and I also do not give nutritional advice. I guide my clients to work with a physician, and then I will guide you to doing your own research and to resources and materials that can really support and help you through this time. And I can give you general I can give you general guidance in this area, and we can take a look at your current nutritional intake and see what you may want to discuss with your physician and your primary care provider, and to look at what you're wanting to do your research on and how you're wanting to feel during your pregnancy, and to just get a clear idea of what you could be eating more of, what you could be doing more of to really support you going further. Because as you go through the different trimesters of your pregnancy, your nutritional needs are going to change, and it's really important that your iron levels um, are ample, because this is going to really impact you and your baby, especially heading into your third trimester. So that's key. Um, so nutrition is number one. Number two is your stress levels. Some people, you could be in a stressful relationship. You could be in a stressful environment, home environment. You could be in a stressful work situation. You could just have a stressful mindset. Just, you might have difficulty just coping with life in general and have just some generalized anxiety. So you're managing your stress levels and building your stress resilience are huge for your nervous system health and your overall physical health and well-being. And so during this 6-week challenge, we are going to explore different mindfulness exercises that you can begin to implement into your life to build your stress resilience over time. And doing this is really going to change your health during your pregnancy. It's going to change your mental health, your physical health, your ability to rebound from stressful situations, and it will help you to begin to direct your thinking process and create new pathways in your brain that are more supportive of your overall health and well-being, and that support a more peaceful experience in your body, that serve to really nourish your parasympathetic nervous system, because your parasympathetic nervous system is really key in how your pregnancy and your birthing experience go. And you really want that. It's your rest and digest system. You want that system to be nourished. That's key. And the mindfulness exercises, your thinking, your lifestyle, that will really contribute to your stress resilience, your nervous system health, and how your pregnancy goes. So I look forward to sharing some of those videos with you and hearing your feedback. What I'm going to have you do throughout this course is journal so that you can measure your progress. And the mindfulness activities are simple and they're short, and you can implement them in the beginning of your day or the end of your day, or both, depending on your time. You're going to personalize these for you, but it is imperative that you have a mindfulness practice going forward to prepare you not only for your birth, but for motherhood in general. You will be so thankful that you created these new pathways prior, because mindfulness isn't about doing something when you're in a state of crisis or you're overwhelmed or you're stressed out. I mean, that's great. But the effectiveness of a regular mindfulness practice, the benefit of having one of those is that when you face or encounter a stressful situation, you're able to bounce back more quickly and the impact isn't as great. And you don't want to subject your body and your baby to those stress levels while you're pregnant, because it does impact your baby and their nervous system development. So that's another reason it's so important. It's not just for you, because this baby is growing inside of your body and their nervous systems are entrained to yours. So you're wanting them to have an ideal experience inside of you as well. So this is like a 2-for-1 benefit that you're both receiving. So going forward, we've covered nutrition, and nutrition also, that includes hydration, staying hydrated. Many people have been induced because they went to their prenatal appointment in their last weeks of pregnancy and their water looked low. Well, they were dehydrated. So it's really important to stay hydrated. And your body is processing so much during your pregnancy, and your baby, their home is the water, in the womb. So you want to stay hydrated for you and your baby. And the stress, building stress resilience through mindfulness. And next is having a sedentary lifestyle. So having a sedentary lifestyle is something that many people actually have because many people are driving long distances to get to work, and their work involves sitting at a computer. So there's a lot of sitting, there's a lot of driving, and then when you get home, you're tired and you just want to sit down and you want to relax. So imagine, are you countering your sitting activity with non-activity really with movement? It's huge. So our hips, are needing to be pliable for our birthing experience. And when we're doing a lot of sitting and a lot of driving, our hips are very contracted. They're very locked up. And in our sitting positions, we're often slouching. We're often not well supported by the chair that we're sitting in throughout hours out of the day. And so what ends up happening is our baby begins to assume the position that we're in. And so what happens to the baby is they're not in optimal birth position when it's time to birth. And this can cause delays. And when your baby isn't able to kind of make their way down so that your body is activated into labor, these delays can often cause if you're birthing in a hospital, cause you to be required to have an intervention to jumpstart birth. Now, that's not necessarily going to change your baby's birth position. So it's really important throughout your entire pregnancy more, to develop different patterns in terms of your movement patterns. But to receive care that's going to move your body, that's going to relax your body. Some people go to Webster chiropractors because they're trained to work with their prenatal clients, and it helps to keep your pelvic, the pelvic bones and the ligaments and the tendons around those bones. It keeps everything moving. It allows your baby to continue to move in place. So where things might get locked up, it helps to open everything up again. Prenatal massage, holistic body work. I do body work for the prenatal and postpartum body to help to support your body and moving, and your baby and moving into optimal birth position to prepare your body for birth. It's really important if you can work with somebody that is trained to do that. And to, get a birthing ball and to sit on that birthing ball as often as you can, because it levels out your base and it helps everything to line up around that. And when your base is leveled out and you're sitting properly, it helps your baby to align with that position. Prenatal yoga with somebody that is trained to teach you prenatal yoga, not just a regular yoga class. It's specific. There are specific asanas and movements you should and should not be doing depending on where you are in your pregnancy journey, which trimester you're in, and some experiences, some symptoms you might be experiencing. So it's really important that you're working with somebody that is trained. I have some training, so I can demonstrate 3 of my favorite asanas that will really help you during your birthing experience and to prepare for your birth and to help your baby move into optimal birthing position during your pregnancy and during your birth. So birth position is huge, and movement is huge. Movement also, if you can find joyful movement, and it can be simple as taking a walk every day for 20 minutes. And you don't need to be engaged in rigorous activity, especially if you're trying to conceive. You don't want to be engaged in rigorous activity. But if you are already pregnant, you do not want to be engaged in rigorous activity. So swimming and walking and prenatal yoga, these are wonderful activities for you and your baby. It keeps your body moving. It helps regulate your blood sugar levels, which is really key during your pregnancy. And it helps to get you in shape for your birth. This is like planning for a marathon. I mean, you need to have your endurance. You need to be able to move through a birth, and births, can go on for a while. So you need your endurance. You need to be physically prepared for this event. With, nutrition will help with your stamina. Movement throughout your pregnancy will help with your stamina. You'll be able to move in and out of different birth positions that your baby is needing for you to get into to help facilitate your birthing process. You need to be prepared for this. So those factors. So if your baby is not in ideal birth position when it is time for you to birth, if you don't have a trained practitioner, if you're birthing in a hospital, they're going to need to do whatever they have to do to say that they did all the interventions they needed to do to make sure that your baby was safe. So now if you're working with a doula, if you're working with somebody that's trained in certain movements, they can help your baby to turn if your baby needs to turn. They're usually trained to help you to do that. I've done some cesarean scripts with couples that help if their baby has turned and to a breech position for some reason during their pregnancy. That does happen. It can happen when you get bad news. It can happen because you did something physically. So, but I've had some really effective, amazing success stories with that. Acupuncture can help turn your breech baby. So often professionals are the medical professionals. If you're doing a medical birth, they're not necessarily going to be comfortable with, facilitating a vaginal delivery if your baby is breech. So that's something you might want to address in advance. Just, generally just moving during your pregnancy to prevent that from happening at all, and to really have a mindfulness, approach to your pregnancy so that you have some stress resilience as well. So like all of this is preventative. Now, next, the fourth thing, which I'm going to include in this, your birth environment, the environment you birth in. So you are going to birth in an environment more optimally that you feel safe in. Now, for me, I did not feel safe in a hospital setting. So I don't believe that my birth would have gone as smoothly in a hospital setting, because that is not where I wanted to birth my baby. Not from the first birth. I did not want to birth there. I was very clear about that. And the reason is that I felt safer and more in control at home. And many people do not feel that way. I feel like it is more the norm to go to the hospital and just have them manage your birth. And so that doesn't mean that it's the safest way to birth. It just means that that is where you have been taught to think that that is where the safest place to birth is, or that's the normal thing to do. And I'm not saying it's really one way or the other. I mean, research has proven that, both are safe, as long as you have a healthy pregnancy and you don't have any, like emergency complications. So, and I have a book, and in my book, I've done some research, and it talks about how, there is a landmark study about this and about the safety of home birth. But if a woman is not going to feel safe at home, that's going to create a lot of stress and anxiety for her. And so that birth isn't going to go as smoothly unless prior to her birthing experience, she's worked through some of, well, why don't I feel safe birthing? And done her research and maybe come to a different conclusion on her own. Because we are so conditioned, I think, to just listen to our peers. Our peers have a tremendous amount of influence over our birth choices. So we're conditioned to really make decisions that maybe we wouldn't have made if we had gotten really clear about our own birth philosophy and did some research and got in touch with our own voice around that. So that's really important. And your support team is part of your birth environment. So whether you're at home or whether you're in the hospital, your support team is really, really key. And when women have doulas can create a sense of safety and physical, like constant physical and emotional support. And so where you would normally maybe say, oh my God, I can't do this. Oh, this is so overwhelming, or I'm in so much pain, or I just can't. With a doula there, it helps to really mitigate that response. And so the need for, and this isn't there are plenty of research-based studies around this, but your need for an outside medical intervention isn't as high because your emotional and physical needs are actually being met by the support of somebody that's trained to do this. And when you're in your birthing experience, you're not in the part of your brain that can make decisions. The doula is there acting as a liaison between you and your birth provider. So, and things have been different this year in terms of who you can have with you in the birthing room. So, for instance, many people couldn't have their doula with them during their births this last year. And so their partner was their doula. Some people didn't have anybody. So then you have your internal resources. And if you haven't been prepared for that, that could be terrifying. So what I have encouraged is that if you do not have a doula, you don't want a doula, you can't have the doula because of the hospital rules, then your partner has to be trained. They have to be prepared for this. They have to be prepared to help you navigate through your birthing experience. And they have to be calm, and they have to feel confident, and they have to feel like they have some tools and that they have effective ways of supporting you through your birth. So that's the other key, is your birth support. Who's in that birth room with you and how are they affecting you? Because you're very vulnerable when you're birthing, and you're very susceptible to influence when you're birthing. So you want that birth partner to be very clear about what your birthing wishes are and to be able to support you in doing that, communicate that to the birth team while you're birthing. So and the other thing is in a birth environment, if you do receive interventions, it could interfere with your ability to move in such a way that can facilitate your baby's navigation down the birth control, because it is not a straight line. So you really need to be able to move during your birth. So there are pros and cons, and there are, times, to use interventions, times maybe you don't need to so much, but it's just important to understand the benefits and and the risks for every single thing that you're going to introduce into your birth. And we can get more into that later. So your birth support, birth environment, nutrition, stress resilience, and sedentary life, so movement is key. And lastly is preparation. So many couples that I work with are not prepared. And I see countless women come in for a pregnancy massage, a prenatal massage, because she finally has time the very last week of her pregnancy, or she wants to kind of get relaxed for birth. And that's it. That's what she gave herself. She gave herself one massage at the end of her pregnancy. She's not ready. Her partner's not ready. It's just going to go how it goes. She hasn't taken any birth classes. Maybe they took a hospital class that told them, when you feel pain, then you want to use these interventions or something like that. But no, or maybe an app I mean, like a birthing app where there's no personalized, like there's no, no person on the other end of that really working with you throughout your journey. There's no real feedback system there. This is such a personal experience. So that to me feels very discouraging, and they might really want to have an empowered birth, but if you're not prepared, it's not like you're necessarily an active participant in the process. But I think unless you know what you actually need to do to prepare, it's not really about getting the baby's room ready as much. I mean, I know many people are focused on that, or having a baby shower and then okay, you have enough baby supplies. This is about you, mom, and caring for you, because you're going to be caring for this little one, and you need to be strong and you need to be cared for. And, if you are not prepared, and so the preparation is mental and it's physical and it's emotional, because birth can be traumatic if you're not prepared, and even if you are prepared. And so this is like this huge rite of passage. We're not talking about it. The preparation mentally is huge. I prepare the couples so much mentally in my childbirth classes. We do fear-based exercises, fear-based clearing. I look at the fears you're holding from your lineage, from your mother's birth experiences, from the collective society that we're living in. We get really clear about your birth plan, and there's so much preparation, and come up with like a personalized, with health coaching, it's like a personalized pregnancy plan, so that you're really prepared when your birth comes along. And so I think that's it. I mean, it's just like really, it takes more than, a massage in your last trimester and painting your baby's room. You deserve better than that. And I don't really feel like this is out there. So that's why I've created this opportunity for you to come and experience, another approach to prepare for an empowered birth outcome for you and your baby. So I really look forward to hearing your feedback as we embark on this journey together during your 6 weeks challenge, and to really see how much progress you can make in such a short period of time, just implementing a couple of exercises, 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day into your life, and some changes. Because as you create those new pathways, they just become a lifestyle change. It's not something that you're just doing for a week. This is something that is creating foundation for the rest of your life, and just sustainable changes. This isn't just like a quick fix approach. So welcome to Empowered Births, and I will see you in the next module.